Minister who will be speaking on small business and entrepreneurs, Minister Chaveni.
Good morning and thank you. As the President has said, small businesses will be hardest hit during these trying times. Some of them have already started to feel the pressure, and we had already started working on the mechanisms to support them. From the onset, let me thank, on behalf of the SMME sector and all entrepreneurs, thank the Johann Rupert family and the Oppenheimer family for their act of patriotism. When we grew up, we knew of patriotic bourgeoisies, and for me, they fit in that category of patriotic bourgeoisies, if more of them could do the same. I also want to indicate that we have several instruments, 3 in particular, to assist the small businesses. We had already started communicating the broad strokes of that last week, but today we're here to give the details. I'd also want to clarify the fake news that is going around that our support to small businesses has a requirement for 50% black ownership. We're supporting all small businesses in South Africa across the demographic spread of our population, though we'll make sure that there's geographic spread and demographic spread that is representative. I just wanted to make that clear. In terms of the business growth and resilient facility, it's a facility that we've created specifically to make sure that we respond to what Minister Patel and Minister Mkhize referred to, that they are going to import some of the supplies from outside the country, but there's a need to strengthen local supply for self-sufficiency. And in that space, we have created the facility to give local manufacturers and suppliers an opportunity to produce both for the medical and hygiene supplies that will be required to respond to the crisis, but also for the food security that will be required for the country to support the work which Minister Didiza was talking about, because when the farmers produce, some of them need to process and we must have them on the shelves. And that's what we are going to support. So, and the growth, the business growth and resilience facility, what it looks as, it will fund working capital, but it only be those that are directly linked to the direct cost of the business, and it will be based on the funding needs of the individual businesses. The term of the funding will be determined by the cash flow and the debt modeling techniques that our agency SIFA will utilize. We are also making that funding available at interest rate of prime less 5% to the SMMEs. And I want to reiterate the following. The President has indicated that during these trying times, there will be those opportunists who want to use the space to be corrupt and to limit the minimal resources that the country have to support SMMEs and the whole economy and the healthcare system. We are very clear that any misuse by both our officials and also the entrepreneurs who will be applying for the funding of this facility, we are going to make sure that we apply to the letter of the law the provisions that the President have indicated. But we are also going to institute a penalty for everybody who misused that facility, of that we are going to repay the facility at prime plus 10%. In terms of the qualifying criteria, we are saying the companies must be 100% owned by South African citizens, and they must employ at least 70% South African nationals. And we are going to give priority to businesses that are owned by women, youth, and people with disability. And of course, they must be SARS registered, SARS compliant. For the non-compliant SMMEs, there are applications, they can put them through, but they will only be considered when they're fully complied with SARS and other. If you have to comply with UIF, we'll have to help you with that. Our agency, CEDA, will be available to offer that assistance. We are also putting a requirement that you must register on our national database, which has gone live today, this morning, at 12 midnight exactly, the www.smmesa.gov.za. For the self-employed and the micro businesses who are not compliant, we are going to assist you to comply through the CEDA. The next facility that we are putting in place is the SMME Relief Finance Scheme, which we are going to avail it to assist SMMEs for the period of 6 months, commencing from the 1st of April 2020. In this facility, we are leaving out the self-employed and the hawkers, because we are creating, as the President has indicated, a special funding mechanism for the self-employed and the informal businesses as part of that safety net. And we are going to announce the details as we finalize the details with the relevant stakeholders. The intention is that was expressed by the President for both to retain jobs and to allow a minimum business continuity and economic continuity so that the ravages on the economy are not that severe. We are also going to be funding a working capital on this. We are also going to include, and the requirements must be auditable because these companies are already in existence. We are going to also include a prime rate of prime less 5% and also include a penalty of prime plus 10% in the event of an abuse. And we are saying, in terms of this facility, your needs will be done based on the business needs. You'll know that our SMME category is defined in terms of the schedule of our Gazette, which was published in March 2019, 15th of March 2019, that defines what is the SMME categories. We also have the same requirements in terms of ownership. They must be South African, and the employees must also be 70%. As you are aware, the banking sector has started to announce the mechanism to alleviate pressures on the SMMEs and self-employed and some level of vulnerable groups, including students. On our part, our agency, CIFA, is going to avail the following. We are introducing a payment moratorium or a payment holiday. That payment moratorium or holiday will be given to CIFA-funded SMMEs for a period of a maximum of 6 months to reduce the installment burden on loan obligations on clients during this period. And beyond the 6 months, we'll do a re-evaluation of what are the arrangements we can put in place, as we are fully aware that even when the disaster has ended, the kicking back of the economy may take a bit longer and SMMEs will remain vulnerable in that space. We are also including the deferments of capital or both capital and interest from the current loans that they have. And the interest that will be accrued during this period of 6 months, it will not be capitalized into the original loan facility over the proposed period. But we will require SMMEs to submit proof of the negative impact of the period of the COVID-19 disaster. And we'll be implementing using the CIFA post-investment team and the CIDA post-investment support to support the SMMEs in distress. In this space, we want to clearly indicate that those SMMEs who were already in distress before the disaster, we have facilities to assist you during our normal course of doing business. And as indicated by Minister Patel, our work will be continuing, albeit remotely, and also sometimes not in touch with, you won't be able to walk into our offices. But please apply in the normal channels for assistance through CIFA. We are also introducing a debt restructuring model for the SMMEs that will be affected. We are going to conduct an analysis of those CIFA-funded SMMEs to assess which clients require the restructuring of their loans. And this could take a form of extended loan term, interest reviewing, and additional funding, which may be required. And the facilities will vary per funded SMME depending on the SMME's cash flow, that is before the disaster and the shutdown. And additional funding, if we have to put additional funding in the event we are going to restructure the debt, we are going to do that at a prime less 5% in terms of our arrangement. Like Minister Patel have indicated, that spaza shops are considered as part of the grocer stores that will provide facilities for people to access their food or to buy food from, we must indicate those spaza shops that will be open are strictly spaza shops that are owned by South Africans, managed and run by South Africans. We want to make sure that the quality of food and the assurance of the quality of products is there. We are going to support the spaza shops in terms of bulk buying. Will indicate the mechanisms we are putting in place to support those spaza shops. We are currently working with our municipalities to make sure that all those spaza shops that are licensed and those that are not licensed are brought to the fold, and will indicate how we work forward with them. We'll announce the further details later. For more information, you can follow us on our handle. But you can also have, if you have queries, you can contact us on our call center, 0860 663 7867, 0860 663 7867, or 0860 one stop. You can also reach us on info@dsbd.gov.za or info@mybindu.gov.za. You can also reach us on www.smmesa.gov.za. Thank you.